Hi, hello everybody. I'm Justin. This is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about WWE's Night of Champions this past Saturday, live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Night of Champions, it's in the books. Honestly, I thought the card was kind of stacked on paper, much more than I would expect for a B-level show, like any show in Saudi Arabia. And it was a pretty decent event, right? The show opened off with the King of the Ring tournament finals, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I was really interested in the dynamic at play here because Cody was wrestling as the heel. He was targeting a body part, focusing in on an injury. Randy Orton was the one who was hesitating to use his biggest and worst moves. Randy Orton was clearly the fan favorite in Saudi Arabia, and they wrestled the match accordingly. But this is not the first time that we've seen Cody Rhodes act like a heel but be a babyface. So I don't know if this is part of some long-term storytelling where he's eventually going to turn heel. There's all sorts of rumors online that the WWE doesn't really want that, but The Rock is pushing for it, and he's a member of the board, so who knows? But we've seen this time and time again from Cody Rhodes, where he does things that the heels would do, but then he gets cheered for him because he's a good guy. But really, at the end of the day, it's still a heel move, right? Focusing on an injured body part, targeting the injury like that, like almost like a pit bull, just going back to the same spot over and over and over, that is a heel tactic. We see heels wrestle that way very frequently. It's usually the babyface that has to wrestle from underneath, has to overcome, right? This is kind of basic storytelling. And ultimately, it was that way throughout the match, right up until the final moments. Randy Orton brought in a steel chair to distract the referee. As the referee is, handing it off to someone, Randy Orton takes the turnbuckle pad off, exposes the turnbuckle. Cody Rhodes reverses, throws Randy Orton into it, and gets the W off of the exposed turnbuckle. So another kind of heelish move, even though Randy's the one who introduced it. And Cody Rhodes is now going to SummerSlam to fight for the WWE Championship. Right? SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights out of New Jersey this year. First 2-night SummerSlam. As the WWE grows, WrestleMania has been 2 nights since COVID. SummerSlam's going to 2 nights. I wouldn't be surprised to see at least the Royal Rumble, maybe the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series, become 2 nights in the next couple of years. All right, after Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton had their match, right? It was the street fight, Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Honestly, being in Saudi Arabia, they had the full bodysuits. They both chose to wear all black. They didn't really stand out from each other all that well. It was an interesting choice. One of them could have, changed it up a little bit just to make a quick glance a little bit easier to tell who was who. The match was fine. It started off kind of slow. Once they started introducing some of the more hardcore elements, it really picked up. Roxanne Perez got involved. That's sort of what we predicted. We thought Roxanne would help Raquel get the W. Even with Roxanne's interference, Rhea Ripley still managed to pull off the win. Probably the smart move. Rhea's the much bigger star. She can start building some momentum and get herself into a proper storyline, with a high caliber opponent for SummerSlam. Now, I think what's interesting here, though, is the story that's sort of in motion with the Judgment Day, right? Roxanne's interference, now that Raquel lost, either A, amounts to nothing, or B, causes resentment with Raquel. And it feels like the story that should be told is Roxanne winning over Raquel, earning her respect, winning her trust, because that further drives a wedge between everybody else in the Judgment Day and Liv Morgan once Liv Morgan returns. So having her just start feuding with Raquel, possibly, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? I think it makes more sense from a storytelling perspective. You win over Raquel. You help her get the W. You help her defend the tag team titles. She essentially replaces Liv. And then when Liv comes back, well, there's not really room for her anymore. So we'll have to see where that goes. I thought that was really interesting. I'm glad Rhea Ripley won. Huge Rhea Ripley fan. But from a storytelling perspective, it didn't make as much sense as I thought it could, right? I think Raquel was the more logical choice, even though she is not nearly at Rhea Ripley's level. There was the match between Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. The match was fine. I think Karrion Kross needed to show up a little bit more. This match needed to stand out a little bit more if he wants to continue getting opportunities. But as of now, the match was fine. After that, it was the United States Championship match. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. We have ourselves a brand new United States champion. Solo Sikoa got the W. He got the title. He also introduced a new member of the family, another Samoan. I don't know if they specifically said what his name was going to be, or maybe it all got blurred together. But there's another one now. So that'll be interesting, sort of, replacing Jacob Fatu in the new bloodline. This felt really like a first chapter, so I would expect these two guys to run it back, probably for SummerSlam. There was the Queen of the Ring tournament finals, Jade Cargill and Asuka, and Jade Cargill was, in fact, ready for Asuka. The match was it was fine. It was nothing special, but it wasn't bad by any means. I think the right person won here. Jade Cargill won. She's going on to SummerSlam, getting herself a championship opportunity there. And I think that was the right call. Jade Cargill's just got a much higher ceiling. She's young. She's upcoming. You're trying to establish her, trying to make a star out of her. You've treated her like this huge star since she's come in. And I think, now that she's kind of having these solo opportunities without being in the tag team, this is the time for her to get some big W's. You can't drop the ball with her. Asuka will be fine. Asuka will recover. Asuka is a seasoned veteran. She's been around for a while. She'll be perfectly fine. And let's see, what other matches were there? There was King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, the Street Fight, Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross, and the United States Championship. So that's 5. So 6, just the world title match then. I thought there might have been one more. I had to count them out in my head. Sorry about that. But yeah, the world title match, John Cena and CM Punk, was the main event. I wanted to make sure we covered everything before we got to the main event match. And again, this match was actually really good. If you're familiar with their rivalry and with their history, there were a lot of callbacks in this match, which the build to this match had a lot of callbacks, right? With, CM Punk doing the Doctor of Punkonomics, similarly to how AJ Lee dressed up as Nikki Bella. John Cena had, pulled out his own pipe bomb promo. It was a decent build to this match. It was a pretty good match. And then Seth Rollins came out. He's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. And he didn't just come out alone. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, right? This drew other people out to help fight them off. Penta, Sami Zayn. So this is kind of building into something big. And ultimately, what it all boils down to, Seth Rollins cost CM Punk. So this is a feud we expected to get into WrestleMania. Instead, they did it a little bit early on the Raw debut on Netflix in January. At WrestleMania, they did face each other, but it was in a triple threat match with the addition of Roman Reigns. So now that John Cena is going on to face Cody Rhodes, I fully expect CM Punk and Seth Rollins to have a one-on-one match, and I would not be surprised if Roman Reigns returned during this match. This, in my opinion, based off of how things stand now, will likely be the main event of Night 1. John Cena and Cody Rhodes main event Night 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if, SummerSlam Night 1 goes off the air, with Roman Reigns standing tall. So that's where we're at. Coming out of Night of Champions. A couple of weeks from now, we've got Saturday night's main event, right? Gunther and Goldberg in a retirement match. And Evolution 2 is going to be that weekend as well. My usual preview and predictions videos are going to be a bit delayed for those events. I am unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town. I'm not going to be able to record those in the same timeline I usually would. So those are going to be a little bit delayed if you are here for my preview and predictions for those upcoming events. So I want to thank you all for your patience with those being delayed, and I want to thank you all for watching this, tuning in, checking this out. Let me know what you thought of the event. That was just kind of a quick recap. I think there's really... ultimately, it delivered a little bit more than I expected it to, being a Saudi Arabia show. And, it was a solid day of wrestling. Going forward, there's a lot of opportunities for the stories to progress and or for some of these people to branch off. So, the ball keeps rolling. That's what we do in the WWE. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the event, what you thought of, what was your favorite match at the event, guys. I'd like to know that. What was your favorite match in the event? And what you're looking forward to for SummerSlam. I think so. Obviously, like I said, there's a couple of pit stops with Saturday night's main event and Evolution 2, but SummerSlam's the next real big event coming up, and that's going to be beginning of August, so that'll be here before we know it. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.